We are just a little over 11 months away from the release of Star Wars Episode 9 on December 19th by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, a lot of people have been wondering more and more about this movie and exactly what J.J. Abrams will be doing with the character of Kylo Ren and Rey in Episode 9. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. Now, what's really intriguing is that Deadline recently got a chance to go ahead and talk to Adam Driver about Episode 9, and they were questioning him about the movie itself and what he's actually been experiencing with Star Wars Episode 9 and the end of the trilogy, and how he actually feels some similarities to the past work that he has actually worked on with HBO. So what's really intriguing here is this is what Adam Driver had to say in a response to a question by Deadline. So the question is, this year you'll complete your Star Wars trilogy with Episode 9. Has it felt like a marathon journey after all these years? And this is what Adam Driver had to say in response. It's been my second time doing something where it's lasted 6 years. I think with Star Wars, it's 6 years this year that I've known about it or have been working on it. I had this experience once with Girls, where it has 6 or 7 years from the moment we shot the pilot to the very last thing. Since I've been working, it's what I've been used to in a way, where you do your other things and then you go back and see your friends. It's always good to go back to those groups. He goes on to say, with Girls, there wasn't really an end in sight, so it was fun to develop it as I went, and to think about where it was all going. With Star Wars, I had one thing of information of where it was all going, and that's where it has been in my head for a long time. And things were building towards that. It feels very theatrical, if anything, because in the plays that I've done, a 6-month run, on the very last day, you finally feel like, oh, now I have a better understanding of what it is that I want to do. I wish we could do this all over again. Working on a play. The questions you can ask yourself are infinite, and that's exactly what's torturous about film sometimes. You can only have one shot to get it right, and you can do a lot of takes, but we're all going to get back together again and do this. But for something you're doing for 6 years, you still have a chance to go back and make something a little bit more articulate. What's really interesting about all of this is how he's comparing it to, the TV show Girls a little bit slightly here and there, and mentioning how Episode 9 is quite theatrical, and he knows the whole entire end game of this trilogy since day one. So he knows one piece of information about Kylo Ren and where that character is going. And what I find very interesting is how he kept on comparing it to the hit TV series that he actually has been on, called Girls. Now, this is leading a lot of people to talk about this today. A lot of people are talking about this interview today, that this could very well be a hint at some redemption, as people like to actually say. Redemption for the character of Kylo Ren in Episode 9. Now, are we going to get a redemption arc in this movie? Now, past leaks and certain spoilers out there have pretty much suggested that yes, a redemption arc is coming our way in a very unique way by writer and director J.J. Abrams, in which, by the way, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and read that full story, it will be linked below in the description. Very interesting read for sure. Now, I think that a redemption arc for Kylo Ren is a little bit tricky. I think that there are some obstacles to go through here. The first one being, of course, is how he killed his own father, and he killed him even though he didn't hate him. So it's a little twisted for a man like that to actually have some form of redemption without any kind of full-on explanation or reason or, I guess you could say, purpose. They really have to get this right. They really have to make it make a whole lot of sense in order for it to really kind of touch people's hearts. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to be something to do with Rey. We've heard about all these different leaks and these rumors and spoilers, etc., about Rey essentially being the core, right? The source of his actual redemption in this movie. Now that, or the return of Supreme Leader Snoke himself, could very well be a way in order for both Kylo and Rey to work together as a team to face a greater evil. Now, moving past all of this, we do know that Adam Driver has actually been doing some Kylo Ren scenes this month on and off. He is getting closer to finally wrapping this movie. I mean, can you believe it? Filming is already almost over. Now, come February, the film will be all done as far as principal photography goes. That's when they enter post-production, where they do all the special effects, the music, the color correction, I mean, you name it, CGI, and they'll most likely have some reshoots here and there. I'll fill you in on that if we hear anything, but reshoots usually are a thing that usually happens in a Star Wars film. If it goes well, it's usually nothing too significant. I know Solo, a Star Wars story, 80% of the movie had to be redone. That was a disaster. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, I think it was like 20% of the movie had reshoots, something around those lines. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about Adam Driver and what he had to say briefly about Star Wars Episode 9 and what he thinks about it and how he feels about the trilogy. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.